the comics interviews. Today we are interviewing Rob Cacy, and we're talking about his book Cyborg USA. It looks really good, and let's get some Rob time before we go and check out this book a little bit. So I'm going to change the view there. Hey, okay, so Rob.
Hey, Drew. Drew,
hey,
thanks for having me on.
It is nice to actually meet you, man. You know, we've followed each other on Twitter for a little while now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, I am wanting to know a little bit about you. Okay, so tell me about Rob.
Okay, so like I am. So I'm from Alaska. My great grandfather like went up there in the late 1800s. I grew up in Anchorage, and then I went to school in Montana, and then I've been in New York City since about 2000. So I live in New York. I'm a house husband. I got 2 kids, 2 sons, and Cyborg USA is kind of like is what I'm doing right now to keep me out of trouble. I studied film in college, and have been working with my writing partner Zach Tobacco for like 15 years on various things. We met doing comedy at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in New York, and then we produced some low budget horror movies like in the mid 2000s together, and kind of hit it off, and have been like writing together ever since. He lives in Los Angeles, but we've been working together, and this was an idea that I had like back in like 2000 when I first moved to New York, and it was never like something that we could do as like a screenplay or a TV show. We thought like it really needed to be a comic book. So I got back into comic books like through watching YouTube videos a few years ago, and your boy Zach and Ethan Man Skyber videos, and that really inspired me to like go and put this project together, see if I could crowdfund it and make it happen and bring these characters to life.
Well, that's really cool. That's really cool. So tell me, you said you've had this idea since 2000. What inspired Cyborg USA? Where did this idea come from?
I think it was a couple things. Part of it was like I was in like a brainstorming phase. You know, like I got out of college and hit New York, and I was just like trying to come up with like every cool idea I could. And this kind of like stuck with me. And I ended up like writing a couple of like scripts that would be like children's cartoons, you know, for it. I think like part of it was like when I was in high school, I was really good friends with an Olympic biathlete. Okay. And I actually went to the Olympics in '96 when it got bombed. We like just missed the bombing in the Olympic Village by like 20 minutes. So I think like that idea of like this story is like it's basically like Super Team USA. They're America's like elite champions. They're at the World Team Championship, and they stop a terrorist attack by the Red Skirts. And so they
the Red Skirts, I'm assuming they're communists.
Well, they're not. That's a good assumption, but it's not exactly right. But they are like, I think of them as like collectivists, but really they're just like a cult. I call them an anti-technology, anti-globalist death cult. But it's a sort of cheeky like they're run by this guy Yuri. So it's really like a super harem, and he's like he's like a Charles Manson-esque or Rasputin-esque figure. So it's not precisely communism, but it's like
it's like communism.
Exactly, communalism. I think you can kind of imagine that he uses the appeal of like communism and socialism and collectivism to lure in his flock and indoctrinate these women that work for him.
Indoctrinate the women. You can't blame him for doing that, though.
Well, I think it's the most natural thing in the world. You know, obviously he's a megalomaniacal like lunatic. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of cool, though. I mean, it's good work if you can get it.
Yeah, it's a good deal. That was kind of inspired by there's like sociology studies about like I wish I could document this better, but they had like rats, and they would put these like rats into these like, I think they were rats or mice, like into these like elaborate social systems, and you would have like some of these mice would like they would basically like hoard the females and like kind of create these like kind of walled off areas where that they would defend and kind of like, you know, basically collect the females. And then the other like male rats or male mice, I guess, you know, again, I look this up and see if I'm right about what I'm talking about. This is all from like my memory of reading it. They would just like fight it out. You know what I mean? So you'd have like these certain like mice that would socialize in that way, and then the other mice, like without the females, would you know, just
so like deers or rams in the wild, where they're, you know, where they want to have all the women, or like a lion's pride or something, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something like that's the idea, is that there's something with the red skirts. They live on Red Skirt Island, which we've positioned like off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. So they are like, if you can see, I don't know, like, well, there's pictures behind me. There's pictures on the Indiegogo page, but they're everything is like naturalistic, and even their like TV is like it's like a tube TV.
You ever seen Moonraker?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I've seen all the James Bond movies.
I have images of Moonraker in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hugo Drax and the space station and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
But he has a huge piece of land, and it's all these, you know, like beautiful women everywhere, and you know, you know, for some reason the attractive men didn't show up until they're ready to hit space. But
right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like that's like the idea behind this guy. They're basically like the I think of them as like the Joker to the Batman that is like Cyborg USA. So they're like the yin and yang kind of counterpart, you know,
the antithesis, right?
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Sweet. All right, so okay, so why Cyborg USA? Obviously the Olympics, I get that. So where's the cybernetics come in play?
I have I think I have like a pretty severe case of like body dysmorphia, you know, and like a fear of like losing body parts. Like when I was a really little kid, like I had this like babysitter, and like, well, we would like, you know, I'm in Alaska. It was actually like a native family that had like a bunch of foster kids, but like one of their like uncles, he like came over and he was like giving us a hard time, and there was like a hole in the wall. We got between the hole in the drywall, and he was like, he was missing a finger, and he was like knocking on the wall and being like, "I'm gonna make your finger the way my finger is." You know, and a couple of doors down from me, there's like where I live, there was a guy who ran an upholstery business, you know, and he was also like missing a finger. And then like, as luck would have it, like my sister lost her eye when she was like 20.
That's not luck, but yeah, I got you.
You know, luck as far as this like project goes, and my own fear. You know, you think it's like irrational. You're like, oh, it's just an irrational, you know, like fear, like it's not something I have to worry about. And then like you get the call that your like sister lost her eye, and I, you know, it's just like so devastating, and I'm so like devastated for her. And you know, she has a really good sense of humor about it, but it's like you know, it sucks, and it's a really hard thing to go through. And my next story,
it's gotta fuck with that depth perception in a big way. It's gotta.
Oh yeah. There's all kinds of stuff, and there's like studies show that like if you lose an eye, you're something like 60 or 70% more likely to lose the other eye, because you know, for just like you know, you're just partly because of depth perception and field of view, you're just like going to be more accident prone, or you know, something.
Jeez.
So you know, all that stuff is like in the back of your mind. I was going to say my next door neighbor was like a state senator in Alaska. And he lost his leg in a snowmobile accident, you know,
okay,
about
in Alaska had something to do
about the same time. It might be. My sister was a fishing accident, so she had a boyfriend, and he was like casting.
Oh, tell me, it was the hook. It was the hook.
No, it was not the hook. It was the weight. So the weight hit her in the eye, and it like killed the eye. So
awesome. Like reach back, got it, boom. What do you mean I yanked your eye out?
Yeah. So some of it is that fear, but then there's also like on the other side the fear of like transhumanism. You know, the idea of transporting your consciousness into computers. This is something like, so I'm a big G.I. Joe fan, and that's kind of how I got into like seeing these videos on YouTube. Because like your boy Zach, Diversity in Comics, like was like following it about the time that there was like a lot of controversy with like one of the writers.
Right.
But that's like one of Larry Hama's like persistent like thematic interests, and a lot of people don't really like it. Like in the 80s book, there was this thing called the brainwave scanner that was like considered like too sci-fi or too tech. It was like also you know, as a plot device, it would just you know, it's like, oh, now we can just like brainwash Storm Shadow and he'll be a bad guy again. So it was like too convenient, you know.
Right.
But the like notion of like recording somebody, the way that Larry set it up, that the brainwave scanner works is like you reverse engineer it. Like you show a picture of an apple, and then it scans you to see like what part of your brain fires when you see the picture of the apple, and then they can replicate that just by like tweaking that part of your brainwave. Like that technology is now real. You know, same thing with like cybernetics. Like a lot of the technologies that like, you know, you imagine as like sci-fi or like a few minutes into the future are like being practically used right now. So all these like all these things about like consciousness, like once you transport your consciousness into a computer, you know, you augment your body with like cybernetics. Like, are you still a human? What does that mean, you know, for the evolution of humanity, singularity, and all that stuff?
No, that makes a lot of sense. That's kind of cool.
You entered the store with expired tags. Beyond is enough.
I'm trying to answer a friend's.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
No, I have another friend who's doing a live stream right now, and I help her tweet.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? What's her
of course
stuff? And I'm like, what? She's like, what's my link? What's my link? So, oh, that was live. Oops.
That's all right. There's a lot of live streams going on right now. So.
Well, no, it's you know, it's just one of those things where like I try to do 1,000 things at once. So okay, so I'm excited about this book. I back it, you know, and that's you know, so I'm excited to read this book. So are you the artist and the writer and all that, or how does that work for your book?
No, so my co-writer is this guy Zach Tobacco.
He's your co-writer.
Yeah, so he's my co-writer. He's a guy I've been working with for a long time. And then the artist is a guy called Pablo Romero. So he's from Argentina. We found him through like he did some fan art for Jawbreakers, and he has a really really cool kind of like 80s animation style. I would describe it as, or sort of like a throwback retro kind of 70s 80s style. And that was the look that we were really looking forward to. Like with these guys, Cyborg USA, that was like what we thought like they should look like. So like finding him was really cool.
Okay. How did you find him? Just like you said he was working on
well, I found him on Twitter because he did Jawbreakers. Like he did some Jawbreakers fan art where he drew the Jawbreakers with Salado Delgado, who's the like the production company mascot.
Okay.
Do you know about Salado Delgado? Like where that came from?
No, I don't know where that came from.
So Salado Delgado is like the guy Richard C. Meyer on Diversity in Comics. He used to roast America Chavez comics, like the Marvel comics. And there was like one panel where it was like absurd. There was like a blue cat and it had been hit by a car, but the way it was drawn, it had like a tire track over its head. You know, it was like total cartoon. But the character America Chavez is like over the cat's corpse and like crying, and like it just became like a meme for him. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at your book.
Cool.
Let's go here. Let's see. We got 2,475 and 38 backers. 38 backers is pretty good start for. Now, did you go the whole 60 days when you did this?
Yeah, you know, I saw that some people like had trouble like renewing it, so that kind of sucked. You know how you like let it run for 30 days and then you renew it for another 30 days?
Yeah, the trick is to actually put 60. instead of 30. Like some
Mhm.
people want to go 30 more days, so they put 30 days in there, or they put
Okay.
30, you know what I mean? The trick is just to put, you just change it to 60 and it goes the whole 60. A lot of people just don't, just don't make that connection. They make the mistake and they don't realize they're doing it.
Well, I always thought that was sort of like I don't know, it's sort of like an encore and like a concert. Like everybody knows it's coming. I just thought we should just like set it up. We're doing it for 60 days and that's what it is.
Yeah, well, in a way, there are some campaigns that like Vinny's campaign for the Haunted Mansion on Howling Hill.
Mhm.
He didn't go a whole 60 days on that because he wanted to have it all out by Halloween. I don't know if I'm going to go the whole 60 days on mine because 60 days take me past Thanksgiving, and I want to start fulfilling by then. So
you want to print it and ship it out by Christmas, I saw, right?
I want to have it delivered by Christmas. Yeah.
Okay.
So like Thanksgiving, I want to actually, start having fulfillment starting then. I want to, it's like when I close my campaign,
Mhm.
I already want to know how many I've ordered to print on the fast shipment. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
And then I'm going to basically, after my campaign, I'm going to leave it in demand, but it's going to be, it's not going to be, guaranteed by Christmas delivery. I'm going to wait until the larger shipment arrives. So. All right, let's take a look at this this video. Let's watch this. Let's movie time. So
okay, this is like 2 minutes. So
all right, well, let's let it roll.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
Tina, Rufus, Bisbee, Hutch, and Captain USA are Cyborg USA, a team of soulless super killing machines working for the Attorney General of the United States of America. Hi. I'm Rob Cacy, writer and creator of Cyborg USA. I've always admired the heroic determination of our USA champion athletes. About the idea for Cyborg USA, based on those athletes and those super teams I loved from my childhood in the 1980s on Saturday morning and after-school cartoons and comic books. Thanks to the revolution in crowdfunding that Indiegogo has made possible, I am now able to bring Cyborg USA to life in print for the very first time ever. Cyborg USA is the story of America's elite team of super champion athletes. Targeted by terrorists Yuri and the Red Skirts, the fanatical anti-globalist anti-technology death cult, maimed and left for dead in a horrific train collision, Super Team USA are reanimated by the mysterious scientist Hans Ulrich and his manservant Carrington. Cyborg USA springs into action, America's elite team of cyborg super killing machines. Cyborg USA is written and created by Rob Cacy and Zach Tobacco, with art by the great Argentinian artist Pablo Romero. Additional art by Lee Miliuski, Bob Stone, and Michael Beacon. Go to Indiegogo, where you can get Cyborg USA issues number 1 and 2. Additional tiers include t-shirts, posters, stickers, and the chance to cyborgize yourself. Pablo Romero will draw you as a cyborg. Visit our website, cyborgusacomic.com, and sign up for our mailing list for your free digital copy of Cyborg USA issue number 1. That's cyborgusacomic.com and Cyborg USA the comic on Indiegogo, now available.
Sweet.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah. You know what I noticed is the artwork is very very like 80s, 90s, like traditional, which I love about it. Like
that's kind of the vibe, sort of this like wholesome like 1980s kind of action adventure super team vibe, just like I grew up like watching all those shows like Mr. T, the animated cartoon, but also like the A-Team at night.
It's got a little sex appeal, tongue in cheek. This is kid friendly, right? It doesn't say anything about it being not safe for work. But.
We don't say that it's not kid friendly, but there is like swearing. There's not nudity.
Okay.
Like as you would. I mean, there's upskirt.
When you say swearing, do you use the F word swearing? Like, do you say fuck?
Yeah, that's right. Fuck. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that technically will take it to a mature rating. So. That's interesting. All right. Well, let's see. That's cool though, man. Captain Love, my book's a totally mature rating, so it's.
Yeah, I know. I saw your campaign. Yeah.
Let's see here. This reminds me totally of like the '80s Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends cartoon. You ever watch that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was like my favorite thing, like Firestar
and Iceman.
Probably one of my first crushes.
Oh yeah. I freaking loved that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Spider-Man then and his Amazing Friends, obviously that was like the first time I got introduced to the X-Men, because that was pretty much when the X-Men comics were still young, and and it was before the X-Men had their own series. They got introduced into Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, and it's like, my favorite X-Men back then was Nightcrawler. I thought Nightcrawler was the coolest. So this is cool.
Dope.
So their cybernetics aren't hidden anything. They're like visible.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. This scene they basically wake up. They're repaired by this character called Hans Ulrich, this like mysterious kind of unusual character of a scientist, and they awaken in his mansion, and he doesn't really give them much of an explanation for like what's going on, and they decide to make a break for it, and that's what this panel is. They make it to a nearby diner, and the cops kind of misconstrue like what's going on, and it forces them to kind of activate their powers in a way that is unexpected.
Okay, so like, what kind of powers do they have other than just being, cyborg extra strength and stuff? What else do they have going on?
Yeah, so that's like that's sort of like emerging like as the story unfolds, but basically they all have like augmentations that are related to their cybernetic parts. Like the most obvious one here is like Tina. So the characters' names are Tina, Rufus, Bisbee, Hutch, and Captain USA. And Tina has a cybernetic eye that like vaporizes her.
This would be her right here, right?
Her adversaries. Yep. So that's her. Rufus is the dude with the cybernetic legs. He's ripped in half by the train collision that maims them all. And next to him is Bisbee and Hutch. They're like a couple. So they start the series as like a young love couple, but then in the train collision, they're like ripped apart, and they're reanimated as like mirror image, like cyborg versions of each other.
Okay.
And they actually like their powers are augmented by them being connected to each other, but then like ironically that kind of drives them apart relationship wise as they kind of get used to they wake up and they've got these like this like there's kind of like a body horror component to it that we're trying to play, but it's all sort of like under the surface of this kind of wholesome 80s kind of veneer basically.
Okay. Now, who's the girl next to the girl with the optical issue?
Yeah. So that's Tina's sister, and Tina's sister, she decides that like these events take place in issue 2. Issue 1 is the kind of origin story, and then in issue 2 we kind of get to know the characters more. So Tina's sister like takes her to get a makeover after Tina goes on a killing rampage. So like she applies makeup, and she gives her like this like new outfit, and kind of tries to get her back to her old self.
Okay, so it tries to get her back to her old self. So basically it's like trying to hide the cybernetic aspect of her. I gotcha.
Well, it's trying to feel normal again, because she's like part of her brain is destroyed. Basically like when these guys go through the train collision, there's this open question of like, are they still who they were before? Are they alive anymore? Their consciousnesses have been transferred to these like cybernetic bodies, and none of them feel exactly the same way that they did before.
I gotcha. And I think it's kind of cool how you drew the athletes a little bit more buff than the other characters. That's kind of makes it home. That's cool.
Well, some of the idea is like for them to be like to establish them as Super Team USA before. So when they plot the first terrorist attack, they're not cyborgs, but they become heroes, and they're recognized as heroes like internationally. So it's not like Spider-Man where he gets the powers and he has to learn to be like a good guy. They're already like heroes. So there's like an open question, like does the cyborg transformation like make them better or something different?
Right. Well, that makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, you know, it would, if they were like all the same, it'd be boring. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Sure.
And then, you know, having like depth to the characters, you know, makes it interesting to the reader. So we have the villain up here, right? This is the anti-cybernetics guy. And
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's cool that you have everything in wood and them in the woods. I mean, they're like really, but it's everything's like non-technical, but they're TV.
Yeah, right. But the TV is like, you know, the TV you can see is like rabbit ears. It's like an
Yeah,
old
it's all
tube TV.
UHF. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's like Yuri and the Red Skirts are the primary villain in issue number 1 and part of issue number 2. But issue number 2 also introduces like a new emerging villain that we're calling Cyberpunk, and there's also like an adversarial relationship with the scientist who turns them into cyborgs and his manservant called Carrington.
Carrington, is there a picture of him in here somewhere?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, there we go. So that's Hans, Ulrich, and Carrington. Those are when they wake. This is the moment where they awaken as cyborgs.
Dude, man, he's like the biggest guy in the whole book.
Yeah, well, he's like more than meets the eye. So we find out. I have some preview art up in some places, but we find out in issue number 2 that he's not quite just a man.
Ah, I got you. That makes sense, though, considering all the other cybernetics that are going on.
Right.
Unless he's really a woman in a man's body, that would be.
That's not exactly what I meant. And so this is art from issue number 2. They have to establish a perimeter, so they activate what's called like killbots. So these are Hans Ulrich's killbots.
Now, this guy right here, this bot, totally reminds me of RoboCop.
Yeah.
It totally makes me think of the OCD.
Ed 209. Yeah. It's very similar how we designed it. Basically, like we described it to Pablo as like a walking gun. So it's like machine guns on legs, basically.
Sweet. That's kind of how it looks. Now these are just robots, right? There's not like it looks like it might have a cockpit, but nobody sits in that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, they're just sort of like drones, like weird drones.
That's cool. That's very cool. Obviously that would crush a human's head with the weight on that.
Yeah, so the character that we call Cyberpunk. Basically, at the beginning of issue number 2, there's a big crowd of like fans of Cyborg USA that have gathered at Hans Ulrich's mansion, and they're there to like support Cyborg USA, but also like it kicks off this like body modification aficionados like flock there to kind of look for opportunities to augment themselves. So that's
I have to interject here. Okay, this picture makes me wonder, was this at all influenced by Cyberfrog?
Yep, that was that's kind of like an Easter egg. That frog in the petri dish, and then the next page is like kind of like a sly Cyberfrog Easter egg.
Sweet.
Yeah,
that's very cool. And then the next page, which we don't see here, right?
Yeah, and in the next page you see like a fully cybernetic frog. That's not very much like Ethan's Cyberfrog. It doesn't
look like Cyberfrog. It's just a Cyberfrog.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's very cool. It's a cyborg frog.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So what I was going to say is that the body modification like junkies, Cyberpunk is like one of them. He tries to sneak into the mansion, and that's what sets off those killbots. But that's his son that's under the foot of the killbot.
Sweet, very cool. Well, this looks exciting. I think that it is easy to understand. I look forward to reading it and getting into the depth. Is this going to be one of those books we start off with a cliffhanger?
Actually, yeah. So a couple of things, like we made the first issue available. The PDF is available. If you go to our website, which is cyborgusacomic.com, you can enter your email and you'll get the PDF sent to you so you can read it. There is a cliffhanger at the end of issue 1. There's a cliffhanger at the end of issue 2. And what we're we met our goal already, but what we're hoping in this campaign is that we can sell out this like limited run of issues 1 and 2. And then that will help us like move forward with the rest of the series. So I'd like to do like 12 issues of Cyborg USA. That's what I have in mind.
Yeah, That's cool. That's very cool. So why 12? Just
It's just like a number that I picked that I thought was like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so they fit together in a book later, or
No, it's sort of like the calendar of like in the 80s there's like there's like a couple series, Team America and US1. They were like thrown out there, and basically they were like pretty hokey, but they were like these cool kind of like Americana, like weird. Well, you'd be interested in one. Do you know US1 or do you not know it?
US1? No, I can't say that I there's a lot of stuff out there. I can't catch everything. I really try to, but
Well, so that came out in the 80s. I thought you might know it because it's like because your book is Space Truckers. So this is like a cyborg trucker, and Team America was like a team of like dirt bike like stuntmen. But basically, like both of those series ran for 12 issues because like Marvel gave it like a year to find an audience, and it didn't find an audience, so they killed it. So
I remember seeing Teen America though. That one I remember.
Yeah. So
US1 I don't remember at all though. But
yeah, I mean, they're like fairly obscure. 12 is just like honestly like when I say 12, what I actually mean is 12. I mean 12 plus an annual. So I mean 13. There's like a secret extra one that I plan to do too. So now I just told you that.
So it's no longer a secret.
Yeah, exactly. We just broke it. We just broke it in the story. But
sweet. See, we got breaking news here, and there's not even anybody in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. You and me. It's like if you can find this chat, you will know the secret that when I say 12, I actually mean 13. So it would be like a year's run, even though this is obviously not taking me a year to do all 12 issues. It's kind of like that's kind of the idea. The other thing too is the first 6 issues are kind of like exploring the characters' situations, and then the next 6 issues that we have in mind are kind of like blowing the situation out. Set like putting them in exotic locations. You mentioned Moonraker. I have a plan to put them in space. So all that stuff like I mean for it to heighten in a certain like way. And I feel like after I do 12, it's kind of like I'll have explored the idea enough that I can just like put it out in the universe, and then people can kind of generate their own stories about these characters.
Excellent. Well, let's check out your perks. So sure. We have you have your initial perk, which is the comics, and this would be both issues, Cyborg 1 and Cyborg 2.
Yep. So that's like the basic package. We're just like right under 2,500. So if somebody backs that right now, that's going to put us like right over 2,500. Next,
like if somebody bikes that one, you're going to hit 2,500 for the next backer, basically.
Basically, yeah, at that perk. So, hopefully that happens tonight.
That's like one of those things that you're just like going to like sit on your hands and wait, and it's like life could torture you for 2 or 3 days because you're like waiting for where's the backer.
For like the first 10 days we had a really good pace, and then like it dropped off for a couple days, but it's picked back up today. So
that's cool.
Pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I mean you never know what's going to happen. I mean I think that you've been around long enough, and people like know you well enough to where this is going to probably catch fire faster than like a lot of fresh properties, plus, I mean, people who are like, I mean, I would say this is, I mean, people who are Jack Kirby fans are going to love your fucking book. I mean, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the art is right. I'm not saying it looks exactly like Kirby because there's definitely some uniqueness to it. That's not Kirby, but I mean, it really, there's a lot of like, for the people who are hardcore, like I only like comic books that are, Kirby style, they're going to like your book.
Well, it's very much like a retro style. It's probably meant to appeal to, guys my age, like middle-aged guys like me. But I think it has like a mass appeal. What I was trying to do is bring back some of the things that I feel like have kind of been squeezed out of comic books a little bit, but it's also like this story like has a lot of the things that I want to see in a comic book.
Well,
you know,
that's good when you write a book for the stuff that you like best. You know what I mean? Obviously, somebody else is going to agree with your opinion, and they're going to like it too.
I hope so. I hope so.
Nobody has like a unique opinion. Everybody's opinion is at least somebody else's opinion. You know what I mean?
Sure. So let me say you got it on the coloring book variant. That's the with that perk you get issues 1 and 2, and then also a black and white version of issue 1. So that has no text, no lettering. It's just like the line.
And issue 1's a variant cover, right?
So well, we call that's just our designation for that on the perk lists.
Oh, it's just uncolored, but it's
yeah. So the issue 1 variant is the black and white. There's another variant that I think we call the B cover. So if you go down, that's like the next perk.
Okay.
So this one is like an ultra
variant.
Yeah. So this one's going to be like an ultra rare printing. So we're going to do this. We're going to do for the main issues 1 and 2. We're going to do a batch of 500, and we're not going to sell them all because we want to save like some amount for damaged. So like, when we sell those, that's it. But then this one is going to be we're going to print it separately and in a different method than the other ones, and it's going to have like a slightly different like letterbox or corner box, and logo, and then they're going to be hand numbered. So this is going to be like the ultra rare,
right
version.
Yeah, hand number is cool. I actually am numbering mine, but I went and instead of hand numbering them, I actually went and got a stamper.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome.
And I actually ordered it special so I can use a really good paint, you know what I mean, and just like lock that down. Because I see where like having the books numbered like that, hand numbering them, making it that extra little finesse. I looked into having the printer number them, which they would do for me, and they made like such a big thing out of it where it was like stamped and foiled and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's nice, but it just sounds very impersonal. It just sounds very very not personal, and like this makes it like another like personal step. It's where it's like if you have this book and it has this number on it, you have like this level of exclusivity. And the same thing with your hand numbered. I mean, it's a level of exclusivity that makes your book valuable. So if this ever blows up where it becomes a valuable property, the people who have the hand numbered books are going to have what's worth like triple, quadruple the property. So
well, that's the idea, and we want to make this is like ultimately this is like a fundraiser. So we wanted to provide different tiers so that anybody who wanted to back and wanted to like give us a little bit more money had like an incentive or like a package that worked for them or appealed to them.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I mean, you want to have some variety. All right, now this one has a T-shirt, a luxurious T-shirt, in fact. Yeah. Woven from the finest cotton with the powerful Cyborg USA logo emblazoned upon it in vibrant, colorful color versus uncolorful color. Also issues 1 and 2 sticker and wall poster. I had to read that just because it was cheesy.
It is cheesy. It's deliberately cheesy. So that's exactly right. That's kind of the deluxe. You get some other kind of cool things to put on your car or wear around the house or that sort of thing.
Fantastic. All right, so then Cyborg guys yourself.
So this one is like very, very cool, and this one you get in addition to this one. In addition to the Cyborg guys yourself feature, you also get all the other perks from the other packages. So this is like really the best value. But Cyborg Guys Yourself is Pablo Romero, our artist, will you send him a picture and he will draw you as a cyborg, kind of like out of the pages or out of the universe of Cyborg USA. So we offered 5 of those. 2 of them are already taken, so there's only 3 left. But that's right there is the original character design for Tina, and you kind of get a sense of like. What he can do for you depending on how you want to be cyborgized.
So cyborgizing basically is he's going to draw you and then not you, but I mean the person, and then add stuff as if they were a cyborg in the comic.
Yeah, that's right. So I say sort of like out of the universe of Cyborg USA because like the idea for the series is like once once Cyborg USA becomes known to the world, other people start becoming cyborgs. Other teams kind of kick off like a cyborg arms race. So you can kind of imagine yourself as like a character in that like emerging world. And Pablo will draw and color the picture for that tier.
Okay. So I am wondering now. You are going to. This is not fully drawn yet, right? Or it is finished?
Yeah. So issue number 1 is.
Okay.
So that's like good to go. And then issue number 2, Pablo. I think he has like 6 pages left to go. So we're very close to done with that as well. It's like the first book is 20 story pages, and the second book is 24 story pages, and then we're going to start getting like finished colors for the first chunk of pages pretty soon. When we do that, we'll do an update on the Indiegogo page.
Okay, so you have the illustrations done for the first book all the way, and the second book mostly, and then the colorist is done how far?
Well, look, we have a different colorist for the first and second book. Everything is done for the first book. The second book, the colorist is Michael Beacon, he's crowdfunding his 7 Legions project right now, and he any day now probably we'll have the first 5 pages that we'll be able to debut.
The first 5 pages. That's cool though.
Yep.
All right, so I keep getting lost. I keep looking at the detail and the work, and I get lost. It happens to me sometimes when I see art that I like, I tend to like,
sure,
and get distracted. It's a bad habit, but that means that your work is good. So okay, so this is going to be cool. So this is still at, let's see, let's refresh it. Let's see, do we get your 25? Oh, we got William in the chat.
Hey, William.
So
cool, yeah. Team America.
Definitely still at 24.75, 38 backers, but that does not mean it'll stay there long. It does not mean we'll stay there long. All right then. So we've been rolling for 42 minutes here. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about on this book specifically to pitch it so that we have not covered, something that I forgot to ask?
Well, I mentioned the website. Like, definitely go if you want to check out like a free preview of issue number 1. Go to cyborgusacomic.com.
It's cyborgusacomic.com.
That's right.
I'll make sure to put that in the description when we're done.
Cool. I guess the big thing is just to say, help us share this campaign. Please back it if it's something that appeals to you. Like I said, my dream is to continue the series for at least like a limited way. So I want to establish that there's an audience for this concept, and hopefully they'll go along with us. That'll put us in a good position to get out a couple more issues of this and keep this property like going ahead. And then you get in on the ground floor with issues number 1 of what is hopefully a property that like lasts for a long time and makes a lot of people happy.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's very cool. All right, Rob, thank you very much for coming and telling us about your book. And, like I said, I back it. I think everybody else should back it. So if you're watching this video, go back the book. The link is in the description. Everybody who's watching this video, make sure you click the like button. It's the one with the thumb up. And click the big red button that says subscribe. That way, when when we have more episodes, you can find them. Also, hit the little notification button if you don't want to miss anything. That little bell there will give the option to regularly get our videos when they come up. Again, let's thank Rob Cacy for coming out, and everybody go back his book. And we'll see you around on YouTube and Twitter and every other little hot mess of social network out there.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we're going to end the broadcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you, guys.